Let's dive into Stevie's training so we can stay consistent at home. Whenever she's doing behaviors that we want to keep seeing, whether that's listening to her commands or she's just being calm, we want to reinforce and reward those behaviors so she looks to do those behaviors with either praise, petting, or treats. And then when she's doing things that we don't want to see there, whether that's not following our commands or she's jumping up on us or she's pulling into the leash, we're going to follow through with our training equipment so that way we can decrease those unwanted behaviors. So let's dive into her training equipment. This is her prong collar. She's going to wear this whenever she is on a leash. How we take this on and off is we're going to secure one of the links and push the other link through like so. To put it back together, we're going to have to pinch this prong and put it through the holes of the other prong. And then when it's on, the leash is going to attach to this D-ring that swivels. How we use it, say she is in the heel position. Heel is that nice loose leash walking on the left side. Say she starts to pull ahead or does something we don't want to see in the heel. We're going to say no, marking an incorrect behavior. We're going to follow through with a pop of the leash, and then we're going to remind her heel. So no, pop, heel. And then, of course, when she gets back into the position where we want her, we can give her that verbal praise, petting, and treats to reinforce the behavior we want to keep seeing. Now with the remote collar, on and off, how we turn this on and off, red dots on both the collar and the remote. We're going to touch these together. That green light flashing means the collar is on and ready to go. On and off button on the back of the remote. We are going to push and hold until the screen lights up. You're going to see level 35 appear on the screen. That is Stevie's working level. And then the black S button is what we're going to focus on today. S just stands for stimulation, so it's kind of like an electric muscle stimulator. How we use this, say she's in the heel again and starts to pull ahead or does something we don't want to see. No, marking an incorrect behavior, black S button, heel, no, button, heel. Then of course, right back into the praising and treats to reinforce and reward the behavior we want to keep seeing. Now with these, we can use one of these, we can use both of these, depends on the situation that we are in. With the prong collar, she might have this on in the house to introduce some new commands and some new boundaries on in the house. With the remote collar, it's going to be the first thing that we put on in the morning and then the last thing that we take off at night, so we always have a form of communication with Stevie throughout the day. With the prong collar, we can eventually fade away from needing the leash and prong on in the house and then slowly rely on the remote in the house. But with the prong, she's always going to have it when she's on a leash when we take her out for walks. Now that is all of Stevie's training equipment. Now let's go over her commands. We've already gone over the heel. About 80 to 90% of walks should be in the heel position. And then the 10 to 20%, we can give her the release word free. Free means she's not in any set command. That's going to be her time to go do her business, go do the bathroom, or anything that she wants to do as long as it's an acceptable behavior. Now we have sit. Sit means stay as implied until she's given a release word free. This is really good for those door manners, so she can't just bolt through doors anymore. So when we approach a door, whether it's inside or outside, we're going to have Stevie sit. If she sits and stays as we're opening the door, that's great. If not, we're going to follow through with the training equipment until she gets it right, because we want to set those same boundaries that we have here at the facility at home with her. So say she sits and stays as we opening the door, great. Now we can free her through the door or we can heel through the door with her. Depends on the situation that we are in. Now we have down. Down also means stay as implied. With down, just like with stay as well, we're never going to release her from a distance because then she'll get rewarded for coming to us and not staying in a down stay. So when we're practicing any of the stay commands, whether that's sit, place, or down, we're always going to go back to where she is and release her from where she is at so she gets rewarded for staying in the stay position and not coming to us. With down, so we can do our little distraction, whatever, we're going to go back to her and release her from where she is. And with reward, we're going to reward as low to the ground as possible or on the ground so she knows where that positive zone is when she's in the down. Now we have place. Place is a boundary state, ideally on an elevated bed. With this, when you first introduce it, I would suggest having a leash on in the house so that way if she gets up, we can guide her back to the bed if we need to. And then you can slowly fade away from needing the leash on in the house. And then with this one, still not going to release her from a distance, so we're never going to walk 10 feet away and then call her to us. We want to make sure we're rewarding her for staying in the command. So we'll do our distraction, have people come over, or we can eat dinner, and then we're going to go back to Stevie. We're going to reward on the place bed, so she knows that positive zone is the place bed, and then we can release her from where she is. Now we have come when called. When first practicing this, or when we're just practicing this, we're going to have a 30 to 50 foot leash on Stevie, so that way if she gets extra distracted, we have a way to reel her back into us if we need to. When we're practicing this, we're always going to reward this command as well so we can build up that positive association with coming into our space. So when we're practicing this, we'll give Stevie the release word free, let her go get distracted on her own, and then when we want her to come to us, we're going to say come in a loud, firm tone, praising her as she's coming to us, backing up to invite her into her space, and then we'll have her sit, and then we give her the reward. Say she gets a little extra distracted out there doing something, and we say come, she ignores us, we're going to say no, come. We're going to follow through after we say no with the training equipment, praise her as she's coming to us, and even though she messed up out there, we're still going to give her a reward because we are always going to be the positive. She's never going to make a mistake out there and then come back to us and we're going to give her a follow through the equipment again. We're always going to be the positive, especially with come when called, because it's really important and we want her to know that coming into our space is always a good idea. Now we have leave it. Leave it just means don't grab that. So when you first practice this, start out with dog safe foods, and I would have her on a leash so we can guide her into different scenarios if we need to. So we'll toss it on the ground, say leave it. If she does, great. If not, we're going to follow through with the training equipment until she gets it right. So we can set that boundary of not just picking stuff up off the ground, just in case it is something that she is not supposed to have. So that is all of Stevie's command. So with Stevie, she is a little bit older, so we want to make sure we're reinforcing and rewarding behaviors that we want to keep seeing, whether that's being calm or she's just doing the commands we're asking, lots and lots of reinforcement and rewards. And then with command or anything she's doing that we don't want to see, follow through with the training equipment because we want to decrease those behaviors that she's used to and she's built up that she gets away with. So reinforcing things that we want to keep seeing, follow through with training equipment that we don't want to see. So that is everything. Now we're going to watch Stevie do her commands. We're going to stay consistent and have fun, and here she is.
Down. Good girl. Good. Down. Down. Good girl. Down. Good girl. Down. Good girl. Good. Down. Good. Down, Stevie. Good. Girl. Down. Free. Good girl, Stevie.
Let's go over the other features of the remote. We've already gone over how to turn it on. Now let's go over how to turn it off. Red dots, again, we're going to touch these together. This is going to turn the collar itself off. And then with the remote, we're going to push and hold the on and off button on the back until the screen goes off. Then we're going to turn it on, and we're going to go over the other buttons that are on the remote. We've already gone over that black S button. That is going to be the number that you see on the screen. Say when you're working with Stevie that you notice that this number right here isn't working for her, whether she's having too much of a reaction or she's just not responding to it at all. What we can do is we can change it by pushing down on this dial until that 1D at the top of the screen starts flashing, and then we can rotate it to whatever number we think is going to work with Stevie. Right now, level 35 has been working for her, but you may have to change it eventually. So how we have to lock this in place, we're going to hold down on the dial again. So that way when we put this in our pocket, she can't accidentally change it on her own, or we can't accidentally change it when we put it in our pocket. But say that you are working on like heal or recall and she's not responding to level 35, you can absolutely move it to whatever she needs for her ability to go through with the commands. Now on this side of the buttons, we have that black S button that we went over. Now we have the red S button. What this is going to do is a boost feature. So that way if Stevie is doing something dangerous, say she is chasing a car, we have an instant way to communicate with her when she is in that elevated state of mind. So right now her level is 35. If I press the red S button, it is going to jump it 20 levels to 55. This is for if she's doing something dangerous, say she's chasing after a car, she didn't respond to her black S button, we're going to resort to the red S button so we can communicate with her in an instant to let her know that, hey, we don't chase cars because that's dangerous. So red S button is for emergency cases only. On the other side, we have a T button. This is a vibrate feature that we like to use to make sure that the collar is on. You can use it when you get further into Stevie's training and she just needs a little bit of a reminder like, hey, you're doing something we don't want to see. You're kind of pushing the boundary. It's just like a little reminder to let her know you're pushing that boundary. On the back of the button or on the back of the remote, we also have an on and off button. If we press it instead of holding it, we can get a flashlight feature for the remote or the collar. So if we press it once, flashing flashlight, press it that second time, solid flashlight, that third time is going to turn it off. We also have an M/C button right next to the on and off button. This stands for momentary or continuous. At the beginning of Stevie's training, we introduced the remote collar in a very positive way on continuous at a very low level to introduce the collar so she gets used to it. And then when she gets further into the training, we move it over to momentary at a little bit of a higher level, and she should stay on momentary the rest of her training. Charging port for the remote is underneath the on and off button right here. For the collar, it's going to be in between the prongs. It stays charged for about 2 days if she wears it for a 12 to 14 hour day. So if you charge it every other day, you should be good. It doesn't take too long to charge. So if you just put it on for like an hour, you should be good. Comes with a dual charger. So if you charge them together, you don't have to worry about one dying and the other one not. I know Stevie has a little bit of longer hair. If you notice that her prongs on her collar right now aren't making good connection with her skin because her hair is getting in the way, what we can do is change them over to the longer prongs. So that way it's making good connection with the skin, and it comes with the tool to remove the prongs. Then that's if you just notice that the prongs aren't making good connection because she has longer hair. When she's been here, she hasn't had a problem. At the bottom of the box, there is a manual if you want to go over any of the other features, or if you just want to read up on it and see all of the other things that you can do with it, absolutely go for it. And then it does have a 2-year warranty, so if you have any issues with your remote or collar, you can get in contact with the company and hopefully get a new one or discuss what problems you're having and get them fixed. They both are waterproof, so not a big deal if they get wet. If Stevie's going to stay wet for an extended period of time, I would rotate her collar on a different side of her neck, so that way it's not rubbing and irritating one part of her neck when she is wet. That is all of the other features of the remote, so we're going to have fun, stay consistent, reinforce and reward all of the behaviors that we want to keep seeing with Stevie, and then the behaviors that we don't want to see, we're going to follow through with her training equipment. So we're going to have fun, stay consistent, and that's everything for Stevie.